So I decided that I could still help heal people, but through food. And I thought the best food person is probably like a nutritionist, but the best nutritionist would actually be a farmer because you're growing the food, so you know the nutrients and the elements that are being absorbed by the plant that you are ingesting. Because aside from issues of saturated fats and um, carbohydrates, processed carbohydrates, and all these other things that are in our food, it's also pesticides, right? There's these chemicals that are sprayed. You could be eating a plant-based diet and still be gathering toxins into your body. So I wanted to go to the root of the situation and learn how to grow food. So long story short, I was able to learn about horticulture, and I started a garden at the school, and I saw that it was a success. And so we started talking to our Center for Civic Leadership about how we could go out into the community and do more of this work. And so we partnered with the Ella Austin Community Center right down the street, and the Eastside Promise neighborhood that was in existence. Some of y'all probably are aware of that. And we started to support school and community centers and church gardens, and it was going pretty well. You know, and I saw that people were naturally attracted to these spaces. I didn't make up gardening, right? I'm not the inventor of gardening. It's been around for a long, long time, between 5,000 to 10,000 years ago during the Neolithic Revolution. And that's actually how society began in an agrarian lifestyle, right? We started to cultivate plants and animals so we didn't have to be hunter-gatherers. So it's very natural to us to engage in these activities. I was still working at that point in time. I worked as a fitness expert, and I also worked in some youth development programming. But I was lucky enough to meet a lawyer, and that lawyer, we bartered. I did some personal training for him, and he helped file our paperwork. And in 2015, Gardopia was born. So that's sort of the story of how this organization came to existence. But when you start a nonprofit, and I started Gardopia with no money, I didn't have a funder who was like, hey, go do this work, good job, right? It really was trying to be innovative and how to start something with no capital. And I also didn't have a background in business. I have a background in science, and so that was also a learning curve. But having the right people around you, I was lucky to have met our existing chief operations officer about a year in, I want to say, at the end of 2015 into early 2016. And so when I was doing it sort of as myself, it was doing okay. It was going okay. You were making a certain amount of contacts, but your capacity is only so much. And so understanding that you need a team to really grow the work that you're doing. Aside from that, our board of directors was really critical as well. We didn't have a fundraising board. We had more of what we call, I guess, a working board. And they would come out and support events and support programming. And so that was really important. We've always tried to have between 5 to 10 board members to support us with that. And then partners. The United Way and the Eastside Promise neighborhood was an important partner in the beginning because they were able to put a few $1,000s into these projects. And in all reality, that's not a lot. That's not going to support any staff, right? But it at least is an investment, right? And it's better than no investment. You're not going to get the whole loaf of bread at one time. Get a slice at a time, and before you know it, you may be there. And so that sort of gave the initial stimulus to say, okay, that some people will invest in this. The participants in the program were enjoying it, which our target focus for participants in the beginning was youth. We now do have an adult education program as well, but we've always focused our efforts in what is called our garden-based learning program. So we started to develop programs, and that was our first one, in addition to our garden volunteer program. So we go into schools, we provide education, and then we have a half-acre micro farm. So that was also something that was a blessing in the very beginning, is having a physical location. Because depending on the type of nonprofit that you're providing, you're probably going to be serving a certain population, whoever it is. You're going to be serving somebody. And so you can do your services off-site, right? We can go to a school and provide those services. But a lot of people will ask, hey, I want to come visit your spot. I see you're doing good work. So we were able to partner with the San Antonio Housing Authority to turn a vacant lot into a community garden.